Welcome back, episode number 4, No Cap Sports Podcast, man. You know what it is. Make sure you stay locked in with us. And like I said, episode number 4. So in honor of Michigan State's win over Michigan, gotta call this one the Plexico Birds episode, man. So Josh, go and get us ready. Get us started with that fight, brother.
Man, appreciate you, Nick. Hopefully this episode's go better than Flasco Burst's career. None of us shoot each other accidentally. So yeah, hopefully we don't have that going for each other. But being that it is homecoming week down here at the Prairie View A&M University, and I believe so. Y'all homecoming was a couple weeks ago. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, got to shout out y'all little ass school mishaps. I just have a couple of songs that, once you play them in the party, it's gonna turn the party up. I kind of restricted myself to 5, but as acquiring this list, I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9 actually. And like anytime you hear any of these songs playing, you know that it's gonna be a good night. So I think the first song, really the undisputed champion of turning the party up, gotta be that Finito by Chief Keef. If your party is the one if your facility is the party where the event is being held at, you definitely need to start looking up renders or something like that when you hear that song playing. I know that I think we've all seen the videos of where I think it was at Clemson where they played Finito and the floor caved in a couple. So it's definitely something to where, having been to a couple parties this weekend, once you hear that Finito, once you hear that Sosa on the beat, you know what time it is. I definitely think Finito is number 1. Do y'all have any comments or disagreements with that?
No.
Solid.
Okay, there. Number 2 on my list, a personal favorite of mine, Finesse 2 Times, going straight in. When I first got here to Texas, I did not realize how big this song was till I heard it for the first time in a party. And I was like, oh, people down here know about that. And it's just one of them, like I said, kind of like the same vibe as Finito in terms of, that once you hear this in the party, people going to throw them phones up, they're going to light them cameras up, they're going to rap every verse that they know. It's generally just one of them songs that, you're going to get the party lit. It's what it's there for. 2 of the top tier songs in order to get the party up. The rest of these are going to be a little bit more regional. And I think that, the next 2 aren't going to be as regional. Definitely towards the end of the list, these will be songs that y'all may not be aware of. But my third song, turn the homecoming party up, any party up, really. Down here, 38 Baby. NBA Youngboy's like original breakout song. Really, being transparent, you can play any YB song and get a pretty positive reaction from the crowd. Being that we have a large Louisiana delegation, and I know that y'all do too, I expect that y'all have kind of a similar reaction to anybody playing YB. And I think I told y'all this story before, but my freshman year of school, my freshman fall semester, that break that I got, the Christmas break between December and January, I told all my friends that I got with, I'm not listening to Youngboy this entire month, just because of the amount of love that he gets for people in Louisiana and how much they really like him. Number 4, something that I kind of debated back and forth with in a segment, a song that probably could have went a little higher, but just down here in this region doesn't get as much love. Dreams and Nightmares by Meek Mill. One song that I did not expect to be as popular or to be as well known down here in this region, but gets played at almost every party. Preach by Dolph. But this song down here tends to get the ladies turned. And, awfully being from Memphis, I'm a rap. I'm not really looking to catch no ASS during this part. Now I'm not turning down no ASS neither, but that's not really what the song is designed for. So now that I got some of the rapping out of the way, I'm gonna try to introduce y'all to some of the more, like I said, localized and regional hits. This version not really, but it's just kind of something that you're gonna hear in the party. K-Stylist, Booty Me Down. I have probably heard this song already at least 374 times, if not even in the party, over the loudspeakers on campus, in the student center, and we call it the MSC. They've even accidentally played it at a football practice last week, or for our scrimmage on Saturday. So yeah, it's kind of things, what this sign is on for, to get the young ladies, get it going, shake what your mama gave you. A couple more songs on my list. I can throw this in there, right? Lil Ronnie F, Circle, kind of something similar in terms of you know what time it is when you hear this song. This is more of a I don't really like this song in general, but again, I like the result that it produces. So now, out the twerk music, here I got two more songs that that kind of like I said, regionalized down here. So you're not gonna really hear anywhere else. Do y'all know Young Nation?
No.
Y'all know who that is? Okay, see, bet they it's like it's like a little Texas group. I don't know if they from Dallas or Houston. They got two songs. One's called Pimp and one's called Club Rock. And yeah, they turn into all the Dallas dudes. They turn into like Bill Street Flippers when it comes out. All this, the little shoulder shakes and the little yeah, like they neighborhood 60s, they cripping and all this extracurricular shoulder and chest movement that nobody really want to see. You play Young Nation, that's definitely what you're gonna get. And I don't know, guess 3.5 years here, it's kind of grown on to me a little bit. Last song, that's again probably one of the biggest down here. Like y'all, when I tell y'all, like we got songs in Memphis, like Dreams Nightmares. That's how people rap. Like they'll rap that whole song. This song is the same way, but it's even harder just because the dude is from Houston. Mo City Dawn by Zero. I have seen Young Men. Y'all know who Zero is?
No.
That's what I'm saying. He's a local rapper. He's pretty big. He's a Houston-based artist. But Most of the Dawn is his his single. And when I tell y'all, like you gotta know, like you have to know that song in the party. Like people will really look at you strange if you don't know, if you're not rapping it like line for line. So that was the first time I experienced something like that. I was like, I'm not from around here. I don't know that song. And they was like, dude, you tripping? Like, how you don't know this song? You better know the lyrics, yada yada yada. I'm like, again. Zero he didn't make it to Memphis. I'm sorry, but I had to quickly get accustomed because the young ladies, they will really be choosing based off how well you know the song, how well you know the lyrics. So yeah, being a young fine brother that I am, I had to get chose. So I had to learn the song quick, fast, and hurry.
You know what?
So yeah,
I have heard of Zero, bro. I have.
Yeah.
It's your list. Your list is Zero, bro. I'm sorry, you flopped. Zero out of
0
10.
for 9.
0 for 9, bro. Man didn't put Swag Surf on the list. Didn't put Mo Bamba on the list. Didn't
Okay.
put No Flopping on the
This
list.
is not
Didn't put
2018.
No Hands on the
Who's playing Mo Bamba at a party right now?
You sleep.
Millsaps?
You
Y'all
sleep.
playing Mo Bamba?
You sleep.
Mo Bamba got more average floors broken per year than Finito. I'm willing to bet.
Facts.
But people still play Finito now. If they playing Mo Bamba at your party in 2021, it's lame.
It ain't turning though. That's what it is. Honestly, I'm not.
No, it's not.
Finito, but
No.
Bro, it is bumping.
No,
It's not. Your list after like the first 4 songs, bro, it just kind of went like. I mean, I know you want to represent your city, bro.
You say my city. It was just something that the specialized HBCU songs. My city is.
Bro.
You can send them to me, bro. Send them to me. Well, after this pod, send them to me.
I mean, I got you. Like I said, the first few.
Zero.
Again, but you wasn't.
Like, what about Let's Do It? Let's Do It. Not gonna turn you up, bro.
Facts. Another.
Oh, you said OLED. I thought you said that like that was somebody artist's name.
You know what song is turning everybody up now? It's new though. Who Wants Smoke? Nardo Wick.
Yeah, but yeah, like the first 4 was kind of like how I said the ones that's really gonna be set in stone. And the latter half of the list, that was songs that I knew that, like I said, specialized down here that y'all probably hadn't heard of, but get like a lot of play in people, not only in parties, but in people's cars and in like auditoriums and buildings around here, because it's like that's just the song to play. Like that's their version, like I don't know, Don Triple Starlito, like stuff that they grew up on. So it's like embedded into their memory. So I mean, the first half of the list is mine. The first half of the list is mine. The second half is kind of Texas. I'll say that. My teammate in here watching me do the podcast. He said Rick Ross. What? No.
Yeah,
ain't trying to hear no Port of Miami in the party.
It's time then to say.
Anyways, bro, back to it. Nick had to cut it off after I started talking about Rick Ross. But anyways,
that was not me. That was a suggestion from the Peanut Gallery.
Anyways, into the next segment, I'm gonna give a versus. The next segment is top 5 25 and under players I'm gonna give top three. I'm gonna give it just missed my list. And here we go. Player A. Y'all ready? Y'all need pen and paper. Player A in 13 games had 24 touchdowns and 12 interceptions, 232 yards per game, a 55.7 QBR, and 2 game-winning drives. Player B in 12 games had 10 touchdowns, 12 interceptions, 172 yards per game, a 67.9 QBR, and 3 game-winning drives. All right, so who y'all taking, player A or player B?
I feel like it's a trick just because of the drastic. Well, okay, think with player B. Obviously, a lot less touchdowns, but also a higher QBR, which is very is a contrast. Very interesting to me. But at the end of the, and then again, yards per game also drastically lower as well. Let Nick go. Let me see what you got to say, Nick. I want to hear you.
It's very tough because I feel like player B is a running quarterback. I'm just gonna go with player A because we're talking about quarterbacks. Look at quarterback numbers: 24 touchdowns, 232 yards per game. QBR isn't where you want it to be, but I think I'm gonna go with player A just because just talking about pure quarterback.
Ooh, I want to go with player A too, just because, like you said, the counting stats look so good. But the one stat that you did say, Vance, that's going to swing me is the game-winning drive stats. It's not a big difference, but player B has more. And being a quarterback, you are the leader of the team, and the objective is to win the game. So for some reason, I feel like I'm being set up with the stats. I'm gonna go with player B because of the
I'm also gonna throw these stats out for you before I give it out. Player B went 8-8, while player A went 4-12.
Oh, you mean that just solidified my case?
Yeah, but player A played with a worse defense than player B.
I mean, you just add.
I mean, does that change your pick, the record, or no?
Actually, no.
You heard Nick switch up. That's in his character, but I'm gonna stick with player. It just solidified me for player B.
I'm gonna stick with player A. Let's stick with.
Okay. To your point, Nick, player B is considered somewhat of a running quarterback, but player A is around. No.
Taysom Hill.
For both these players, it was rookie years. Player A was a 2019 rookie. This is on who it is.
Kyler Murray.
I
don't know.
Player B, I feel like that's Taysom Hill.
No.
Taysom Hill ain't starting up games until 8-8.
You just making up yards, bro.
You gonna have to tell me, bro.
You gonna tell me.
So player A, 2019 rookie is Daniel Jones of the New York Giants.
Who player B?
Player B is Josh Allen from the Buffalo Bills.
Boom! Give me Josh Allen, man.
Yeah. So both of them missed my top three. I'm not gonna lie to you. I do think they both have futures in the NFL. They missed my top three, though. I know that's surprising. People got Josh Allen as the MVP front runner currently, but he misses my top three.
So Vance, go on and tell us, who are your top three quarterbacks, 25 and under?
All right, so at number 3, I have to go with the greatest college quarterback of all time, Joe Burrow. He played on the greatest college football team ever, the second best offense compared to the Alabama team from a year ago. But now he's paired back up with Jamar Chase. He's going to be one of the best dynamic duos at a wide receiver and quarterback. And he brings stability at quarterback for the Bengals. The only quarterback that was stable for the Bengals was Andy Dalton. But I think he doesn't even have much more work to do, and that's going to make him the best quarterback in Bengals history. At number 2, I'm going to go with the most successful rookie quarterback of all time, and that's Justin Herbert. Had the most passing touchdowns as a rookie, 31. Most completions as a rookie, 396 completions. And he's the first rookie in NFL history with at least 2 touchdown passes in 7 consecutive games. Number 1, I'm going to have to go with Big Trust, bro. Youngest MVP ever, youngest quarterback to ever start a playoff game. And it's debatable, but he already has a Hall of Fame resume, the greatest dual threat quarterback of all time. That's my big 3.
Mm.
Indeed.
Yeah,
Indeed.
we'll see.
I was under the impression that we were going to really have, honestly, going to have the same top three and have them kind of remix them and re-rocked in terms of how we were going to have the 1, 2, 3. I was very scared for a minute you wasn't going to have trust in there.
Come on,
Even leaving Josh Allen out is kind of a hard push for me. So I don't know. You gave some good reasons for your answers, but I'm gonna have to disagree. But let me hear your list, Nick.
All right, so for me, I'm gonna keep it short and sweet. Number 3, I got Josh Allen. You can't deny the guy. He's the current favorite to win MVP this year, and we've seen him improve year in and year out. You look at what happened when he got weapons such as Stephon Diggs and Cole Beasley, and his play has been taken to another level. He's completing 65% of his passes now, and that's a stark contrast to when his rookie year, sophomore year, he was completing around 55% of his passes. That's a good improvement. Number 2, I got to go with Kyler Murray, young sensei. He's leading the second ranked offense in the NFL this year. He's led Arizona to a 7-0 record before losing to the Packers on Thursday Night Football. And he got the Cardinals off to a similar start last year, the similar hot start. And I think this year, Kyler's really figuring out the NFL, figuring out how things work. And I think this is the year where we don't have to worry about the Kyler fall off. He's getting it done, like I said, both ways. Throwing the ball, he's got over 2,000 passing yards, got 3 rushing TDs. All around playmaker, even making plays outside the pocket when the play breaks down. And number 1, there's no quarterback under 25 better than Lamar Jackson. He's worth every penny that they're going to pay him. He was the 2019 MVP, rushed for the most yards by a quarterback in the season, and he's shown up in MVP form already this season in big-time games versus the Colts and the Chiefs. And to just add a little bit more flavor to that, he's been Baltimore's leading passer and rusher in 5 of the team's 7 games this season. This is the best quarterback under 25 and one of the best players in the NFL right now.
You said under 25. Is he just the best quarterback, period?
He's not the best quarterback, period. But he's in that best quarterback in the league conversation, for sure. The last time I checked, Tom Brady's still slinging that pigskin around.
Yeah, I give you that.
So, Josh, who are your top 3 quarterbacks under 25?
It was it was surprising. I thought that honestly we have a set tier 1 of these top under 25 quarterbacks, and you came out with a big surprise, Vance. But I'll start at 3. Josh Allen. You know, Nick pretty much covered all the attributes and the stats in terms of what he's done. He was one of the biggest boom or bust products coming out of that 2019 draft, and I think it's safe to say that he's boomed at this point. Some of the biggest concerns that we had about him was his ability to make plays in the pocket and his accuracy, and he's definitely shut down those concerns with flying colors. In terms of also being the majority of Buffalo's run game, you know, being somebody that's a goal line option, a la 2012 Cam Newton. This is with his size and power, and also his ability to make plays not only in the box, but be like a outside vertical threat as well. But in the league of what it seems like a golden era of quarterbacks that we're having right now, for me, 3rd best quarterback under 25. Number 2, and it kind of pains me to say this, I'm not gonna lie, but I'm gonna have to go with that boy LJ Lamar Jackson. Yes, is he probably the most dynamic quarterback we've seen since Michael Vick? Potentially the most dynamic quarterback ever? Yes. Would he be the undisputed best quarterback under 25 at any other time and during the league? Also correct. But there's a guy that, you probably can figure it out, but there's a guy at the top of my list that combines what he does in terms of looseness, making plays outside of the pocket, and this is I wouldn't say a little bit more. It's more competent in the pocket and making throws downfield with his accuracy. However, I will say that in terms of my top 3, Lamar by far has the worst supporting cast. I mean, when your top receiving threat is Mark Andrews, there's something to be said about what your organization is not doing in terms of surrounding you with playmakers. But his development within the pocket has happened, and again, he's an MVP candidate. He's not only an MVP candidate, he's already won an MVP award. And just the dynamic, the athleticism that he brings to the game in terms of, like with Josh Allen, he's, He's the best back for the Baltimore Ravens, especially with the injuries they've dealt with this season. So Lamar Jackson, again, any other time, any other era in the league, he would probably be the undisputed best quarterback, not only under 25, but in the league. But there's a guy at the top of the list that I just like a little bit more. For me, my number one, high school Texas legend, only person ever to be drafted in the first round in MLB and NFL draft, Kyler K1 Murray. I know the first thing that Vance is going to say is something I'm agreeing with as well. At 5'10", he does seem to be showing signs of his body breaking down and not being able to uphold this level of production he's put forward thus far. However, this is, from my perception of the list, the three best guys right now. And right now, Kyler Murray has to be the odds-on favorite to win the MVP just because of what he's done personally and also the record that he has led the Cardinals to. You talk about completion percentage, you talk about accuracy, completion percentage. I don't think it's a question out of my top three that Kyler Murray is the most accurate. He probably has the best weapons and still has the best individual receiver in DeAndre Hopkins on his team, although Stephon Diggs might have something to say about it, but I don't think it's really that close of a debate. But in terms of production, Diggs has been better this season. But yeah, Kyler Murray, 80% completion percentage, the first 3 games of the season, first quarterback in Arizona history to do that. And he's still sitting at 72%. So this is a guy that is like, if Kyler Murray ran a 5.4 40, he still would be a very dangerous guy for the Arizona Cardinals team. But again, the stuff that he does outside of the pocket, he is – I hate to say Lamar because he's not that. Nobody's Lamar, but he is just as dangerous or more dangerous than Josh Allen. And his threat, his speed, his ability to just not only make plays in the run game, but extend plays outside of the pocket and push down to a Rondale Moore, to a DeAndre Hopkins, to a Christian Kirk. That's one of the biggest reasons why they're AJ Green missed assignment away from being 8-0 halfway through an undefeated season. So, this is a tough list. I would take any 3 of these quarterbacks over Zach Wilson or Mike White. But yeah, I definitely think, it was tough for me to put Kyler over Lamar just because I've been a Lamar guy, just not even on the field, but in terms of the cultural impact that he's had. But evaluating objectively, Kyler just, with more weapons, like I said, he has done a little bit more. And as of right now, he has to be the odds-on favorite to win MVP.
So Vance, let me talk to you real quick, bro. You the one with the different lists.
Thanks.
Just talk to me about why Kyler and Josh Allen didn't make your list.
I'm gonna flip the script on you with the Kyler take, bro. You said it about some player. I forgot who it was, but it was either this pod or the last pod. You definitely said availability is the best ability. With Kyler, his body's already started to break down. I said week 11, we're closing in on that. It's week 9. He has an ankle injury. He's day-to-day. He's expected to play this week. But, NFL is a big boy league, bro. So with Kyler, I agree. He's a special talent, bro. But if you can't stay on the field, can he take those hits? I do not know. Like you said, Josh, you said Lamar Jackson. The thing about Lamar, he's already an MVP, so everybody knows what type of talent he is. I don't even think you can even compare Kyler to Lamar. Is he a better pocket passer?
Yes.
I'll give you that. He's a better pocket passer, but he's not a better playmaker. He's not a better athlete. He's not a better anything else, bro. Every other box, Lamar checks that. And with who's the other guy you asked about, Nick?
Josh Allen. Why wasn't Josh Allen on your list?
Why is Josh Allen not on that list, bro?
Yeah.
Josh Crawford said he's 2012 Cam Newton.
That's cap. I didn't want to bring it up, but that's cap.
I'm talking about in terms of his size and ability to make plays in the red zone. That's all I compared him to.
I mean, the last memory I got of him in the red zone was getting stopped on a QB sneak. But anyways, bro.
Touche.
It feels as the guys that I take that I'm taking over him are just flat out better than him in skill wise. I think he's a very good player. I just think the guys if it's just me, that's just me. I think everybody would take Josh Allen over Joe Burrow. Everybody would take Josh Allen over Justin Herbert. But in my eyes, from what I've seen, I just give me Herbert and Burrow over Josh Allen. That's just me. It's just me. Nothing against y'all. It's just me.
One quick question before we switch up topics. Just because of the list that you put out there, are you somebody that values pure quarterback play and the ability to make plays inside the pocket, considering that, both Burrow and Herbert can make stuff happen with their legs. But I think with me and Nick's list, you have three of the most dynamic guys to have potentially ever played the quarterback position in this league ever. So with your list, are you emphasizing more like pure quarterback play in terms of what you can do in the pocket, making reads, things like that?
I'm basing it off if it's one game and I gotta pick somebody, give me Joe Burrow over Josh Allen. I'm basing it off if it's one game, give me Justin Herbert over Josh Allen. That's just me. I mean, anybody else might have a different list, bro. This is just what I've seen. Babe, they're still under 25, but I think the way they're gonna progress, bro, I think Josh Allen has already hit his peak. That's who he is. I think Herbert can still get even better. I think Joe can still get even better. Joe Burrow, like he has Jamar Chase, Joe Mixon. Who's the third person?
T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd.
Who's the tight end? Who's the tight end?
CJ Uzma.
Who?
You want to ask, brother? I don't CJ Uzma. I just know he kind of
exactly, bro. I mean, bro, I just feel as if when 10 years from now, I think it's all very tight. I'm not saying it's a fat gap in between these players. Yeah. I think Lamar, I think everybody, you can pick them at that point. It's 3 or 4 quarterbacks. Herbert, Josh Allen. Who else? I'm sure I'm leaving somebody off.
Don't clown me, but Daniel Jones.
Kyler, my bad.
Trevor Lawrence in the league now too. It's like, to your point, bro. It's a lot of good young quarterback talent in the league, excluding Sam Darnold. But it's a lot of good young quarterback.
That don't hurt me no more, brother. You're not no jet. Don't hurt me.
My fault. Excluding Zach Wilson too. So yeah, y'all got a lot of problems. But,
hey, Mike White, one more win from starting the rest of the season, bro. One more win.
That's no cap on it. That's crazy. Beat the Bengals, yeah, but I ain't gonna do too much bragging. We got a lot of show left to get through.
And so now we can get into some major NFL trade deadline news, and we're gonna start out with the biggest trade of the day, and that's Von Miller being traded to the Rams. That's right, the Super Bowl 50 MVP is teaming forces with Aaron Donald in LA. Now, just looking at the deal, it's simple. Denver received a 2nd and 3rd round pick in the 2022 draft, and that knocks the Rams down to 3 total picks in 2022, a 5th round pick and 2 7th round picks. So the Rams are really gambling their future here and they'll push all the chips towards the middle of the table, win now, move. And in addition to this, Denver is also going to pay $9 million on Von Miller's 9.7 remaining base salary. So looking at this trade, how does this move improve the Rams' chances of winning the Super Bowl, which is in LA this season?
Y'all talked about it. I wasn't the biggest believer in Matt Stafford in terms of the improvement that he was going to make over Jared Goff. I'll take the one on the chin as being wrong. So I think that they weren't that far off with being Super Bowl favorites. They're in the toughest division in the NFL right now, and they're currently in the league with Arizona losing to Green Bay. They're tied for first with Arizona losing to Green Bay. This guy Von Miller is undoubtedly the best pass rusher that Aaron Donald has ever been paired with. And the scary thing is that for a lot of years in Denver, Von Miller attracted double teams essentially, which is having a tackle over him, but also you having a tight end chip just because you're scared of that speed rush and his ability to bend the edge and get your quarterback out of there. And just in terms of improving their chances and making the defense even scarier, you cannot dedicate 2 blockers to Von Miller and 2 blockers to Aaron Donald on every single play, on any play really, because you're dedicating 4 O linemen to 2 guys, and you're good.
When Leonard Floyd is leading the team in sacks.
Thank you, Nick. Exactly. You got young edges like a Leonard Floyd, like a Terrell Lewis, that like a similar way that Aaron Donald improves their production and improves their game just because being around greatness, I mean, obviously they're developing techniques, but they're also receiving less attention individually. This is just that effect exponentially upgraded just because it's another edge rusher. As much like a Leonard Floyd is not as disappointing as he was. He slightly disappointed that he was in Chicago. That big boost that he got from AD, we should kind of expect another jump from him with Von Miller coming on. And again, like Nick said, he already has 6.5 sacks through 8 games this far. So it's gonna be a scary sight. I think undoubtedly they're the best pass rush in the league. Even with especially with JJ Watt going down in Arizona, there's something to where I don't know how teams are going to be able to block them. Like just this a point right here, and I'm gonna let you go, Vance. How do you block a TE stunt with AD and Von Miller? What guard tackle combination can handle that? Like that's a win every time. It's something to where they already had the best defense in the league. They already had the two best defenders in the league in Jalen Ramsey and Aaron Donald. And you add a Von Miller, which I guess some may see as a legacy pick, but this is still somebody that can produce double-digit sacks. And he's not even a one-trick pony. He's known for his speed, but recently he's developed, a lot of counter moves, a lot of inside moves, just because tackles for years now have been anticipating and sitting on that speed rush and that ability to bend that edge. So as a guy that studies D linemen, studies interior guys, studies how the front four and the front seven, I'm excited as hell to see what it's going to look like.
Man, the biggest fan of this trade is the secondary of the Los Angeles Rams. You got Ramsey, Jordan Fuller, Taylor Rapp. You can play cover one. You can play man the whole game. The D line is going to get there within 5 seconds. Now, you won't have more than 4 seconds to throw a football. So all those deep route concepts, all those deep passes, that's out of the realm, bro. The only teams with a chance in hell to beat there are teams that can run the ball and teams that have an athletic quarterback. So only teams, maybe Kyler can sneak a win early in the season, bro. And like I said, the later in the season it gets, the more college body's gonna break down. So you got Lamar Jackson, AFC. Who else is an athletic quarterback that can scramble away from that D line?
Not too many, bro.
Russell Wilson maybe can make it.
Maybe he comes back.
Can win a low-scoring game? No, yeah. It's going to be very scary, bro. It's not many teams that can do it. It's a few teams that can beat them in crunch time when everybody's healthy, but this is going to be the scariest defense we've seen since the Legion of Boom, for sure.
I agree, bro. And I think this helps the Rams on a whole nother front, bro. You look at the Rams right now, they currently have the 11th highest blitz percentage at 23%. And as we saw last season, there are teams you just can't blitz frequently. You look at the Chiefs, what happened when they played the Bucs in the regular season. You look at just some of the dynamic quarterbacks and what they do versus the blitz, because that leaves less guys in coverage, less guys on the back end to stop these dynamic receivers. So adding Von Miller, it allows the Rams to sit comfortably in a 4-3-man pressure and still create pressure, allowing them to put too high over the top, allowing them to slow down some of the more dynamic passes in the AFC. You think about them going on the Super Bowl run, potentially a playoff run, got to see Aaron Rodgers, you got to see Tom Brady, you're going to have to see Kyler Murray. That's going to help them down the stretch. This is a stretch move for the Rams, and I think it's going to pay dividends in the end. I think you're looking at a team that could potentially become a Super Bowl favorite. Does this move put them over the top and establish them as the Super Bowl favorite right now?
I had a dream last night. I lied, it was a nightmare, and it was an epiphany, bro. And it came to me, and you know who was in my nightmare? Then I woke up and he had COVID this morning, so I don't know. I'm honestly gonna say it's something about the Packers this year. I really believe the Packers are gonna win the Super Bowl. I don't know why. It's that the Cowboys are looking real good. I just feel like Aaron Rodgers is on a mission. I think he's gonna win the Super Bowl and lead Green Bay. I don't know why. I feel it in my body right now. I woke up, I had a nightmare. I was sweating. He had me sweating in my I can't lie about this. I think it's gonna be Rams Packers in the NFC Championship game, and I think Aaron Rodgers is gonna sneak it out.
I mean, it's not the worst take you've ever had. They have gotten there the past 2 seasons. So, yeah, that's a very high possibility. You need to stop lying about his vaccination status. But, I mean, they're definitely on the path to they have the playoff experience and they have the talent around them and the motivation as they last ride to go out with a bang. But what they don't have is Von Miller and Aaron Donald. So, as much as it's a good narrative and I don't want to kill you for it, you're essentially going to be able to generate blitz level pressure while dropping seven in coverage every time. This is, like I said, we've had edge rushers before that you pair with Aaron Donald because when you have a guy that dominant, you don't really feel the need to go out and get another dynamic pass rush. So you've seen guys like Barker been hunting with the Rams have done like a Simpson, Ubucon, a Dante Fowler Jr., Clay Matthews, guys like that, where it's like, yeah, just throw him out there. Don't mess up and let AD do what he does what he do inside. But with Von Miller, again, with the improvements that they've made on offense, with Cooper Kupp looking like an all-pro first teamer this year.
The best receiver in the NFL, statistically.
Facts. Trust me. I just got killed with him in fantasy last week. So I'm knowing that he's on pace for like 150 catches or something stupid. So yeah, you have this is not a Chicago Bears type of deal where you're gonna have a defense that you're gonna need to keep your offense is gonna struggle to generate 17 to 24 points. This is a dynamic offense paired with undoubtedly the best defense in the NFL right now. So in terms of Super Bowl favorites, they weren't far off before this trade. I think some of us on the podcast even deemed them that, and I think now, until proven otherwise, especially with Kyler going down, I think they're runaway unanimous favorites.
NFC or the whole NFL?
You know, it's great. Like I like the same way you feel about Arizona. I don't dream about white men and they don't make me sweaty at night. But the feeling that you have about that Green Bay team, that's how I feel about Arizona. Like, well, even with JJ Watt going down, they have Marcus Golden, they have Chandler Jones. Like, started to bring up their memory of 5 sacks. But I think a lot of people forgot about how dominant a pass rusher Chandler Jones was, especially on the edge. I think that he probably is the best edge rusher in the league right now. So when you have they kind of follow the same. They're following a similar blueprint with the Rams in terms of having a really dynamic offense and a really stout defense as well. I like some of the secondary talent that they have a little bit more than the Cardinals in terms of overall. Than the Rams in terms of an overall collective.
Anyways, moving on to the AFC, looking at the team that was in the Super Bowl 2 consecutive years, the Kansas City Chiefs, they made a big-time trade. Well, I ain't going to say big time, but they made a trade to shore up that horrendous defense they have. A defense that is 10th worst in the NFL in total defense. Looking at a defense that gives up 400 yards per game, is the 14th worst pass defense, the 11th worst rush defense, and the worst team in terms of sacks, a team that only has 11 sacks over 8 games. They decided to trade the Steelers for Melvin Ingram, a guy who's 32 and threw 7 games in a decreased role because of the return of Alex Highsmith from a growing injury. Said he's only had 1 sack and 10 tackles on the season. He's essentially been reduced to a reserve role behind TJ Watt and Alex Highsmith, like I said. But now he's in a new role in Kansas City. So what kind of impact can Melvin Ingram potentially make to this Chiefs defense?
One thing I want to say, Nick, I want to point out that you said his role has been reduced, but his level of play has not. According to PFF, which is a much maligned stat, shout out to my guy Gabe Kuhn, not the most accurate, but it does give us a very in-depth look of some of the production that goes outside of pure sack numbers and TFLs for offensive defensive linemen. Melvin Ingram, 13.7 pressure percentage and a 17.6 pass rush win rate. Those are both top 25 marks for edge rushers. He has 6 quarterback hits, which is 14th highest for all edge rushers, and he has a overall pass rush grade of 82.1, which is his best mark since 2017. So he has a reduced role, but I don't think he has the pure sack numbers aren't going to tell you the whole story about what he's doing. He's a guy that combines speed and technique very well. And him being that bookend edge rusher alongside Frank Clark and Chris Jones, that allowed Chris Jones to slide back in the interior. And with both of them popping against in that Monday Night Football win against who they play, y'all? The Giants. It was O-line, a little questionable, but it's good to see Frank Clark and Chris Jones get back on track. I think it'll be able to boost their pass rush and help out a very struggling secondary. Personally, I would have liked to see them do something with the back 7, just because I think that's been the biggest problem. Chris Jones and Frank Clark have been a little bit disappointing, but at this point, those are 2 of the 3 best guys on your team outside of Tyrann Mathieu. So I think that secondary probably needed to be addressed before you brought in another edge rusher. But regardless, like we just talked about with the Rams, your edge rush and your secondary work hand in hand. So maybe the added pressure from Melvin Ingram can help cover up the holes. And this Daniel Swarson led secondary. So pretty good move. It's not Von Miller to the Rams, but Mel Davis is still a really good player. I wouldn't say Pro Bowl level, but he's somebody that can provide consistent pressure on a quarterback week in and week out, which is gold in the NFL in the way the NFL is set up nowadays.
Yeah, bro, I like it a lot. It's week 9. Out of all the teams that played 8 games so far, the Chiefs had the least amount of sacks in the NFL. Melvin Ingram's racked up 18 pressures on 140 passes. Melvin Ingram, he had a team-leading 6 quarterback hurries for the Steelers this season. I feel as if it's going to be a move that pays off, especially if the Chiefs – honestly, as bad as the Chiefs' defense has played, the offense has not looked anywhere compared to what they've been the past 3 seasons. It's interceptions, fumbles, turnovers. Offense is they probably lost I'm not looking at it, but if I had to guess, they probably lost time and possession on 6 of their 8 games this season, at least. And so just keeping the defense off the field, that'll help a lot more. But with a guy like Melvin Ingram, who's playing reduced snaps and still one of the better pass rushers in the NFL, bro, I like the move a lot.
Yeah, I think it's a good move, especially for what Josh said. Now, in obvious passing situations, you can slide Chris Jones back to the inside where he's been dominant, almost in that tier right under AD. And now you have Frank Clark and Melvin Ingram off the edge. I think that's a solid pass rush. Get teams off the field on those crucial 3rd, 4th downs, in certain situations. And I think that's a big-time move for the Chiefs. I'm not going to say it's going to fix the Chiefs' defense, make them a way better defense than they are right now, but I think it's a solid move, especially looking down the line as they try to win some games and string some wins together and hopefully try to make the playoffs and make the wild card. I think it's one of those kinds of moves that can push them over the top in terms of that. It's not going to change the defense, but it'll help them win a game or 2 here and there. So now we're going to get into college football playoff. Selection committee dropped that top 6 this Tuesday. And so looking at the committee's top 6, it goes in this order. Number 1, Georgia. Number 2, Alabama. Number 3, Michigan State. Number 4, Oregon. And then bringing up the back end, you got number 5, Ohio State. And number 6, Cincinnati. Now, I have a lot of problems with the committee's selections. So I want to hear what you guys got to say first. What do y'all think about the committee's initial top 6?
Hop off Alabama's meat, bro, please.
I agree.
Goodness gracious. That's the biggest problem. I mean, it's not the only problem, but number 2. Now, if you snuck him in at 4, bro, he maybe might have an argument. But number 2 means that's telling me even if they lose to Georgia in the SEC championship game, they might still get in.
Facts. And they lost to it. Their one loss was to a Texas A&M team who was unranked at the time, but now they're number 13 in the rankings. But this Texas A&M team still has 2 losses at the end of the day. So.
Yeah, that's tough. That's probably one of the bigger points of contention for me, Vance, in terms of you had them over an undefeated Michigan State team that has that signature win over Michigan last week. So that's probably my biggest thing as well. But obviously, I think the biggest story, not only for us but nationally, is that Cincinnati comes in at number 6. This is the strongest profile that a Group of 5 team can potentially even build ever going into the college football playoff. You get the dominant marquee win versus Notre Dame. You try to schedule as many tough out-of-conference games. Indiana, if they had been good, that'll help them a lot more. If SMU beats Memphis, if they had lost to Houston and they weren't defeated, that probably would help them even more. But there's only so much that you can control outside of who you schedule, who you play, and how you play them. So the fact that the committee has them at 6 right now, not even has them starting in at 4, is basically the statement they're saying that no Group of 5 team will ever make the playoff because, like I said, this is something to where Cincinnati. I don't know how. I guess these rankings are supposed to be created in a vacuum. There's a team that played, which is now the undisputed number 1 team, as close as this team has been played within the past 2 years. And we're referring to Georgia. So this is not a team this is not a Coastal Carolina situation. This team has legitimate Power 5 talent. We talk about a Desmond Ridder, you talk about a Jerome Ford, you talk about a Sauce Gardner. And the fact that we've been talking about this for so long, and the committee essentially set Cincinnati up for failure because at 6, you had to have 2 of those top teams lose for even them to be considered. And honestly, something that me being on Sirius this morning with Hester and Jacob, EJ Manuel, Oklahoma with the schedule that they have, coming up with games against Baylor, games against Oklahoma State. If they win those 2 games, they have the chance to potentially jump Cincinnati coming from 8 and sneaking into that top 4. And that looks more plausible than ever with the way Caleb Williams has been playing. So it's disappointing, especially as fans of Memphis being in AAC. And I think that Cincinnati made the right decision going into the Big 12 because It's hard to find a group of 5 team that'll ever put together a better resume than this. And it's basically a slap in the face to anybody that's not a part of the Power 5.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna agree with both of y'all here because you look at Alabama, they put them at number 2, but the only signature wins they had in terms against ranked opponents who were ranked at the time was they beat Miami to start the season 44-13. Miami started the season ranked number 14. They're not ranked no more. They also beat Ole Miss 42-21. Ole Miss was ranked number 12, but as we know, they just took their second loss to Auburn this past week. So they fell in the rankings. But you got a team in Michigan State who's undefeated, and they just beat the number 6 team in Michigan, and they also beat Miami early in the year. No, they didn't blow them out. They beat Michigan State beat them 38-17, but this is still an undefeated team. You're putting an Alabama team with 1 loss over a Michigan State team that's undefeated and has 2 wins, and their win against a ranked opponent was higher than the ranked opponent Alabama's beat. That's one of my bigger gripes to start off with. And my second gripe is, like you said, Cincinnati. You put an Oregon team over Cincinnati, and this is an Oregon team that has a loss to a team that's currently 3-5. That makes absolutely zero sense to me. In my opinion, if Oregon is going to be on this list, they need to be at number 6. I put Ohio State over Oregon, even though they lost to Oregon. Ohio State is a better team than Oregon, and I think Cincinnati is a better team than Oregon. But that's all I got to say, man. I don't mess with the committee at all, and I think it's about time they put a group of 5 team, give them the recognition they deserve. But anyway, we done gave our gripes. We done complained enough. So what we decided to do was we got our own top 6, and we're going to get that to y'all right now. So Vance, start us off, man. Who's your top 6 teams in college football right now?
Okay, top 6. Well, first of all, I'm going to start off with a team that I left out, and that's going to be Ohio State. I know you guys are liking I like how they look also, bro, but facts are facts, bro. The proof is in the pudding. You lost, bro. You got beat. So you're out, bro. You lost to Oregon. I don't care if they are better than them right now. I don't care what was happening then. I don't care if your grandma was sick, your daddy was sick, your car is flat. The best player had COVID. I don't care what happened. You lost. That's facts. So at number 6, I'm going to go with the team that they lost to, had the exact same record, exact same resume. Oregon. They're in number 6. Number 5, I'm going to go with another 1-loss team. And that's going to be Alabama, the Crimson Tide. With Alabama, 2 way too high. That's really disrespectful. But 5 is the perfect spot for them to be in with 1 loss. That means you're able to play your way into the tournament. All you got to do is beat Georgia. Number 4, I'm going to go with the first undefeated team and the last team in the playoff, and that's going to be Oklahoma. They switch quarterbacks, have Caleb Williams now. The offense looks a lot more smooth. I just don't know what was going on with Spencer Rattler in the offense. You just like they did those big plays that Oklahoma's known for in the past years, bro. And the Heisman caliber quarterbacks, it just wasn't happening this year. And they switched quarterbacks with Caleb Williams, and they look a lot more fluid. So I'm gonna go ahead and give them a nod at number 4. Number 3, Kenneth Walker III, bro. The best running back in college football right now, or at least top 2. But definitely honestly, in my opinion, he's jumped up to probably top 2 in the Heisman race. And
top 1.
Yeah, I mean, bro, I don't disagree. I'm not gonna be mad at you for saying that. But with that being said, bro, I think Michigan, another 1-loss team, they're outside my top 6, but they're legit, bro. They have a nice team. At number 2, but here's the thing: when I say Michigan State right now, that's only because they had that marquee win. Do I think they're better than Ohio State? No, I don't think they're going to beat Ohio State. At number 2, though, I'm going to go with Cincinnati. But here's the thing about Cincinnati, with them being ranked so low, this college football playoff committee really hold them. When we look at it, these other teams, these Power 5 schools, when they rearranged the rankings, Cincinnati was scheduled to have 2 more ranked games in their schedule in Houston and SMU. Now, though, with the college football playoffs switching it up, they lose those games, while the teams like Michigan State, Oklahoma, they get teams that get bumped higher up above those group of 5 schools, like a Coastal Carolina, like a UTSA. Teams that actually are legit, bro, but they're just not going to get the nod. Even Wake Forest is ranked pretty low. They got the second best offense in the nation behind Ohio State. But at number 1, bro, I don't think it's any argument from anybody or anyone. And that's the Georgia Bulldogs.
No, that's a Fendi fact right there. Definitely a Fendi fact. For me, I'll start off with doing my top six. I got Alabama coming in at 6. I didn't know that the SEC sponsors the college football playoff committee, but it has got to be. When you got 7 teams in the top 25 in the initial rankings, you got teams like Auburn coming in at 12 that has not looked the best team, and then like A&M, where Zach Calzada had one good game played the game of his life against Alabama, and it looked like what he had looked like the rest of the season. That's way too high. That's just way too close, like you said, man, to an undefeated Wake Forest team. Coming in at 5, you got Ohio State. They both have pretty similar resumes in terms of pretty high octane offenses, and both teams only currently having one ranked win thus far in the season. But I put Ohio State over there just because, honestly, I'm sick of the SEC bias, and Ohio State has 2 opportunities to get marquee wins in the next against Michigan State and against Michigan as well. No, yeah, Michigan State and Michigan, and then the next 2 to 3 weeks. But for me, getting into that top 4, Oklahoma. All of my top 4 teams are teams that have not lost yet. And again, that is what I thought mattered most in terms of determining a national champion. So Oklahoma, yes, they have not looked the best. Spencer Rattler has got sent to the bench, but evaluating the team as of right now, this is the team that had was the most injured team in the Power 5, having lost. And you look at their 2 deep, they had lost like 10 or 11 guys to injury. So this is a team that's coming in shape at the right time. Obviously, like Van said, they're starting to make some of those big plays from Caleb Williams that you would expect from Spencer Rattler. And again, they have not lost yet, which in my eyes is what's most important. So number 3, Michigan State. Like you said, they got probably the Heisman favorite right now, Kenneth Walker. Peyton Thorne isn't the most inspiring option at a quarterback, but they've navigated a tough Big Ten conference, a tough Big Ten conference, and also getting with some really good wins, which they looked better when they got against Miami. So, like I said, this Michigan State Ohio State game that will determine whose resume will look the best going into Selection Sunday, essentially for the playoff committee. Number 2. I got Cincinnati. Like I said, this is a team that this is where they're placed in the AP poll. They did their best they could in terms of making the resume look really good. You get a win over a Notre Dame team that sneakily, if things fall in the right place for them, had a chance to get in the top 4 themselves. You can only on this schedule this far. So I'm not a big guy to style points, how it looks. But obviously the committee is, and that's disappointing. But for the Josh Crawford CFB playoff committees, Cincinnati will get their rightful due as the number 2 team. And number 1, we're gonna go with the Memphis Tigers. I'm just playing. That's kept. Georgia. My biggest thing, again, it's not even that much to talk about. Undisputably look like the best team in college football right now. That defense looks like an NFL level defense right now. I know that term gets thrown out a lot, but when you have a defensive tackle that's getting serious Heisman contention in Jordan Davis, that just kind of tells you the pieces they have around them. You got Nolan Smith and Nakobe Dean, Avery Anderson. Like, this is a defense that'll have 7 to 8 guys that'll be playing on Sundays next year. And that's not a conglomerate of talent that you see in college football that much. People don't come to a football game. They come to football games to be entertained. And you don't think about defense as being entertaining. But the way that this defense runs around, flies to the ball, creates turnovers, and simply stops offenses in their track, that's fun to me to watch. However, the only thing I will say that they have on the horizon, this Stetson Bennett, JT Daniels situation. Stetson Bennett has looked capable and has led this Georgia defense, this Georgia offense to not some spectacular numbers, but he has done the job and he has filled his role in terms of making a lot of plays outside of the pocket, which you don't really associate with a former walk-on. But JT Daniels, he's a pure passer. He's a big armed guy. With him at quarterback, there's just a potential to take this Georgia offense to another level. You got Stetson Bennett. He has looked pretty good, filling in for JT Daniels thus far. And a lot of national guys, including the guys on series that I work with, they see it as something that's going to be inevitable, that JT Daniels will eventually take over that starting quarterback from him, that starting spot from him. But I'm not so sure about it. I think continuity is a big thing in a locker room, and in terms of somebody that's playing good, you don't replace them. And Stetson Bennett has been looking really good for this Georgia offense. And personally, I think it's a situation to where JT Daniels could be the better quarterback in terms of evaluation in a vacuum, but Stetson Bennett could be the quarterback that better fits this Georgia offense in terms of ball control, being able to make plays out of the pocket, and handing it off to Zamir White and James Cook. So I don't think it's a foregone conclusion that Stetson Bennett is gonna just give the ball back to JT Daniels, and he had 2 interceptions against Florida, but outside of that, he's played pretty good football for the team. So JT Daniels, unless it's something in practice that we don't see, that obviously he's the better quarterback, I would stick with Stetson Bennett until he loses the job for them.
I mean, I think if Georgia does win a national, whoever wins the national championship this year is going to be the worst national championship in the college football playoff ever.
Why you say that?
I mean, as good as Georgia's defense is, their offense is big. It's really not that. Nothing impresses me on it. I mean, they have a solid team, but it's just like, so who won the national championship last year? Alabama. Year before that, LSU. 2 amazing offenses. The year before that, Clemson. You have Trevor Lawrence, one of the best teams ever. Year before that, then you got Alabama again. When you think about that, who's that? Tua? It's just like it's going to be the worst team ever. I mean the worst national champion since the college football players have started. Definitely, whoever wins, whether it's Georgia, Cincinnati, Oklahoma, anybody, Ohio State. But Nick, I do want to hear your list before we move on.
Yeah, bro. So we saved my list, best for last. I'm gonna keep it short and sweet. At number 6, we got UTSA, the undefeated Road Runners. They've been doing their thing all season. They beat Memphis XYZ, who beat Mississippi State. I'm just lying. Number 6, I gotta put Alabama there. They've got 1 loss on the year, like we said already, and that 1 loss is to a Texas A&M team who has 2 losses. Not a good look, and their 2 ranked wins aren't very impressive. You look at the Miami win, a team that's 4-4 right now, and you look at an Ole Miss team that has 2 losses right now. Not very impressive. At number 5, I got Ohio State. This is the best offense in college football, putting up 548 yards per game, 43 touchdowns on the season. This offense is going to carry them to far places. And they're 1 ranked winners against Penn State, but you got to look at it because they got games against Michigan State and at Michigan coming up. At number 4, I got Oklahoma. This is an undefeated team, but they're at number 4 because they haven't dominated anybody yet. And they also don't have a resume win yet. Their only ranked win came against a then ranked 21 Texas team, and that was 55-48. But you look at some of their other games, they're very close. Very, very close. Switching to Caleb Williams has done wonders for this team. As we've mentioned, this offense is averaging 46 points per game with Williams as a starter. They were only averaging 29 points per game with Rattler as the starter. And that's excluding the West Carolina victory because West Carolina is a bunch of slappies. So number 3, I got Cincinnati. They're undefeated, 8-0, number 2 in the AP poll. But they just haven't dominated their competition yet. You look at close games, a 27-20 victory against Navy, a 31-12 victory over Tulane. All these teams have a fighting chance against Cincinnati. It's not a good look. And if you look at 5 of their wins, looking at their win against Miami, their win against Indiana, their win against Temple, Navy, and Tulane, those 5 teams have a combined record of 12-28. It's not a good look. I understand why the committee ranked them lower. They should still be in the top 4, don't get me wrong, but they're in the bottom half of that top 4. That's why I got them at number 3. And at number 2, I got Michigan State. They got that statement win against Michigan. This is one of the better teams in college football. You got a Heisman, I think Heisman favorite running back. You got a quarterback who's not the best, but a quarterback who can get the job done. And that's why I got them at number 2. I think this is a very good team, and they still have 2 big games left at Ohio State and versus Penn State. They need to win those games, point blank, period. And last, number 1 team in my college football playoff, I got to go with Georgia. They've only given up 5 touchdowns on the season, which is very impressive, especially for a team that's played 8 games. To only give up 5 touchdowns and only one of those touchdowns coming in meaningful time, that's impressive, bro. And they've only, in addition to the fact they've only given up 5 touchdowns, they've only allowed 15 total plays of 20 yards or longer. This defense is clamps. This offense knows how to win ugly. They started the season with a 10-3 win against Clemson, and I think no matter what, I think this is the best team in college football.
Bro, I gotta ask y'all, bro. I know. How can y'all put Ohio State ahead of Oregon?
You got it.
It's a head-to-head. They both got one loss, same resume.
It's simple as this. Ohio State has a better team. They look better on paper. You look at it, like I said, the best offense in the country, still a top half defense. And the only thing with that Oregon loss is it was just very inefficient. They put up 612 yards against Oregon, but they only had 4 tutties. So they were really dominated Oregon. They just didn't come away with the win. And Oregon has a worse loss than Ohio State.
That's my thing.
Yes, Ohio State lost to Oregon, but Oregon has a worse loss. My fault.
I know that was my point. That make it short and sweet. Ohio State's one loss to a team currently in the playoff, and Oregon's loss to a team that will not even make a bowl game. So I know you said the resumes are head up, but we're using the eye test, which is a term that the committee actually used. Ohio State has looked way better than Oregon has thus far, in terms of offense, in terms of defense, and since that game, these teams have gone opposite directions, honestly.
I mean, I think Oregon still has a better defense than Ohio State, but that's like you guys said, eye test, but that's just me. Ohio State definitely has the better offense, especially with CJ Verdell out for the season for Oregon. But I think Oregon's defense is a lot better. So this is my last question for y'all. I kind of want to narrow this down to get a consensus. Number 7. So we're gonna do a start one, bench one, cut one, and this is gonna be for the teams that all 3 was left out. Michigan, Wake Forest, and Notre Dame.
I'm gonna go with Wake Forest. Undefeated team. Like you said, second-ranked offense. They're getting it down in the ACC. I'm not sure if they play Clemson or not, but I think that Clemson game will be a good test for them because that Clemson defense is something serious.
You said we start one, bench one, cut one. I will agree with Nick in terms of starting one, have them come in at 7. Wake Forest, again, undefeated in the ACC, which look like undefeated ACC champions, and there's something to be said for winning every game that's been on your schedule thus far. I'm gonna go with Michigan next. They played that Michigan State team really close. They were up the majority of that game. Again, not the most inspiring quarterback situation with Cade McNamara and JJ McCarthy switching out. And like we know, if you have 2 quarterbacks, you really don't have one. But in terms of physicality, again, the Big Ten up front, that's going to be a team that's going to grind and pound you all game, and that defense is something special too. And then Notre Dame, just by default, more than anything else, I had to cut them and put them at 9.
Just because there was no dogfight with Florida State to start the year.
That is a big fact. Thank you, Nick, for that law. And then as much as we don't want to say it, they did lose to a Group of 5 team. So, sorry.
And now we're going to close the episode out. Give out our game balls. I'm going to start first. Got to give it to Kenneth Walker, young man from Memphis, Tennessee, Arlington High School graduate. And Saturday, he put on a show versus Michigan in the Big Blue, rushing for 197 yards, 8.6 yards per carry, 5 touchdowns, defeated number 6 Michigan, and he's the Heisman favorite in my book. So he's got to get my game ball, especially since he's from the city.
I like it a lot. I debated it back and forth. Obviously, you see how much show preparation I do. One to give it to Mike White, second quarterback in NFL history, to have 400 yards in his first start besides Cam Newton. Just had to throw it in just to clear the haters in the room about my New York Jets. But I'm gonna give my game ball to one Jaren Jackson Jr. He is somebody that has been much maligned by myself, especially after getting $140 million. No, that's for Taysom Hill. How much did Jaren get it for his extension or something? 205?
I don't know.
100.
Was it only 100? That's crazy. But anyways, we just paid him all-star money, and he has not been performing like all-star thus far in the season, especially in that game against the Heat. Me and Vance have talked about a lot. He seems to be a big version, the biggest 2-guard in the NBA. And except, guess what? He shoots like Andre Roberson on some nights. When you go 0 for 8 against the Miami Heat, as somebody that categorizes himself as a unicorn stretch big, that's not good. He's somebody that has been frustrating to start off this season. And it's just been a thing to where we're going to pay him that much money. he has to be that solidified number 2 and has to be playing at an all-star level for this Grizzlies team to get to where they need to get to. That being said, Triple J had his best performance of the night against what is the reigning MVP, Nikola Jokic. 22 points, 5 for 9 for 3. But 2 of the biggest stats for me in terms of his development, 8 rebounds and only 3 personal fouls. We've talked about how much, Jaren isn't the most physical guy, somebody that hasn't been, somebody that likes to bang around in the post or get dirty in the paint. And that's crucial for his development. And do that against somebody, against a Nikola Jokic and an Aaron Gordon, probably one of the more formidable front courts in the NBA. It says a lot about his development to be able to do that while also only getting 3 fouls. And then on the last play against Jokic, head up in the post, having a really good contest on him and forcing that game-winning, forcing him to miss the potentially game-tying shot. So I tear down when it's time to tear down, but I build up when it's time to build up.
We up, and make sure y'all stay tuned in, bro. Make sure
y'all stay up.
Oh God, make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe. We're coming to y'all every week now. We back on our regular scheduled program. So y'all keep it locked in with us, and we're gonna keep updating y'all on all the biggest news of sports. And with that, we out here.
Big brr, you feel what I'm saying? If you hot, you ain't you not. Don't worry about it.